So I'm guessing you've been working on a pattern and now you're stuck on the placket. I remember those days. They can be very daunting at first, but here's how I construct a continuous placket. And it works the same for a solid piece of fabric or two joined with a French seam, and I'll show examples of both. So I use a 2-inch wide strip of fabric cut along the straight or cross grain. It really doesn't matter, just not the bias. And I generally take a piece way longer than I need. It's just one less thing to think about, and this is easy to get from your scraps generally. I sew with the placket strip on the bottom and the garment on top, and right sides together. As I sew along the seam, I angle the garment off a little bit. This allows you to sew the bottom area without getting a wad of fabric bunched up in this seam. And you know what I'm talking about. After all, this is really why you're watching this video, right? Come on. So you can lift your presser foot and adjust the fabric as needed. Now it may look like you're going to get some ripples in there, but more often than not, you'll be just fine. I'm pleasantly surprised by how many plackets look like they're going to be a hot mess, but I keep sewing and they turn out just fine. And then as you continue sewing, you'll angle your garment back to meet the placket strip again. So this process is the same if you've joined two pieces of fabric together as I'm showing here. I've got two pieces of fabric joined with a French seam. I put the seam to one side, it doesn't matter which, and just keep sewing, adjusting the fabric as needed. I do like the back stitch at the bottom. I'm not sure if this is necessary, but it seems like a good thing to do since the bottom of the plackets can get pulled on as they're being worn, and I wouldn't want the added back seam to ruin the structural integrity of this placket. It's a good habit to check the bottom section just to make sure there aren't any bits of fabric caught by mistake. And then I cut the bottom area just up to the stitches. Obviously, you don't want to cut through these stitches, but this slit releases the tension in that bottom section. And then I clean up the seam by making the raw edges even and about 1/2 inch wide. After giving both sides a good ironing, then I cut the strip so it's somewhat parallel to that seam. I also trim the strip down to about 1.5 inches or so. Next, I fold the strip over once and iron that in place, and then I fold the strip over again so the folded edge is just touching those stitches. I like to hand stitch this folded edge in place using those stitches. Finally, I fold the whole placket in half and iron the bottom section. Then I take it to my machine so I can put a handful of stitches at the bottom of the placket at a bit of an angle. The exact angle doesn't really matter, but having something there helps keep the placket nice and tidy. So if your garment's for a girl, then the right side will fold under and go on top of the left. Meanwhile, if your garment's for a boy, then the left side will fold under and go on top of the right. Then you just need to hand sew the placket edges in place and you're good to go. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. As always, I appreciate y'all for watching and I hope to catch y'all next time.